This week's edition of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by
GoDaddy.com
and Netflix. What are you gonna do now?
I was gonna go upstairs for a minute.
I mean with your future, your life.
Well, that's a little hard to say.
Jeff.
Excuse me. Mr. Albrecht.
Jeff.
Mr. Albrecht.
Come with me for a minute. I want to talk to you. Excuse us, Dan. I just want to say one word to you. Just one word.
Yes, sir?
You listening?
Yes, I am.
Podcasts.
Exactly how do you mean?
It's a great feature in podcasts. Think about it. Will you think about it?
Yes, I will.
Enough said. That's a deal.
Three rad dudes with nothing better to do get abducted by the crew of the Starship Alpha 2. They're from the planet Q, which, due to a space-time loop, is stuck in 82 and must be rescued. They need our heroes to discuss the latest news and give their reviews of games and movies too. Sure hope you're not confused. We swear this is all true, not just the premise to the Totally Rad Show.
Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Totally Rad Show, episode number 44. I'm Alex Albrecht.
I'm Jeff Canada.
I'm Dan Trachtenberg.
The Totally Rad Show is your weekly dose of all things rad, like the fine, fair people of Detroit. We go out, get all the rad scrap metal, and make you the best car possible. American made.
Rad car.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
I'm doing really good. We have a cool Cloverfield styled background this week.
We're going to talk about Cloverfield. It's from Eric Beckett,
That's
as it were.
Cool how he did that.
Yeah, like Theater of the Absurd.
I want to bring something up right at the top because I saw a movie this week.
We're going to talk about the movie section.
I know, but I saw. I just want to bring this up because Dan, you've mentioned this movie on the show before.
Oh, you saw another movie. I thought you meant Cloverfield, and I was like, yeah,
Well,
me
I saw
too.
that.
I'm
We
going to
all
see
saw
that.
that.
Me too, and we're gonna talk.
Yeah, I was like,
I saw Primer.
Oh, I
This
thought you were
week.
gonna say The Thing.
No.
which one's Primer?
The
The weird time capsule one?
Time
one?
travel.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Made for $7
Yeah,
grand.
yeah.
You brought it up. You've seen it, right?
Movies that you can't understand. Like
No, you brought it up just sort of casually, like, oh yeah.
But it was on the Southland Tales. I was saying movies
Blows your
that
mind,
you
doesn't it?
can't understand.
It's one of the best movies I have ever seen.
That blows your mind.
It's in my top. I don't know.
I mean,
it's
Some sort of list.
amazing. It's
Yeah,
so
fun, huh?
I wish I had made this movie. It's so fantastic.
do you think you're smart enough to?
When he's like
No,
listening,
no,
when he's
I'm
like
not.
listening to himself talking about
You
what he
saw it,
needs to
right?
say. Yeah.
Why didn't you guys tell me that I had to see this movie?
I did when you said how much you love.
No,
time.
Yeah,
travel,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I should
yeah.
probably
I
see
probably
that.
mentioned you like 5 times, dude.
I was there for one of those.
Yeah.
I think you should see Primer. I loved it.
I
loved
not,
it.
This is not a movie for everyone.
No.
It's a movie for me.
Yeah.
It's a movie for every Jeff
This movie,
Canada out
if you
there.
love thinking about every single word that is said.
You know what?
in the
It's
movie.
my favorite thing. It's smart people talking intelligently about things they're experts in.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't pander to you. You gotta
A lot of
keep
times
up.
they don't even say what it is that they're saying.
No.
They just do things. And they're like,
loved
that's
it.
amazing.
Steve mentioned
like the
something-
time, the watching.
Steve mentioned something about Aaron Sorkin's writing. He was talking about how much Steve loved Charlie Wilson's War, about how they talk about political stuff and it's quick, but you don't have to understand every word they're saying because you just.
The feeling is
The
conveyed.
feeling is
the idea
conveyed.
is conveyed.
I
even
do
though-
not think that that's Primer. I was sort of watching it a little bit more casually, expecting. It's okay that I'm not following what they're saying because
Yeah.
I'll just get the feeling, and I was like, oh no, I need to be paying attention to every word because it was. I had to go
I thought it was
online
fun.
and look, well, that's because you were probably following closer attention than I was.
Well, I
But
tried to do that.
I had to go online and
I was
find a
kinda tired.
description of. I mean, even the commentary didn't describe the movie to me. I needed like a full-on like.
But I will.
like a
One of the
Cliff
things.
Notes
One of
for
the things
movie.
that I will say about it is, boy, does it not. I mean, so many movies are being made nowadays. Like I always hate these movies that are being made and they're made for tons of cash,
Right.
and they suck. and you're like, somebody paid. What was that movie we just saw? And I was like, somebody paid. This makes me feel mad because, like, Southland Tales. Like, somebody gave this person this much money to make, and clearly people must have known that it was gonna suck. And yet, you can make a movie like Primer for nothing, and it's so smart and so fun, and it was, you know, well made.
Well, let's talk about another big budget movie.
Shall we? Oh.
All right, for movies this week, we've just finally hit 1/18/08 and the release of Cloverfield.
Is that today? That is today, isn't it?
It's today.
Wow.
Yes. So we gave the further description of the history of this when we talked about the trailer.
Yeah.
So real briefly, it's TV and Mission Impossible 3's J.J. Abrams and the upcoming Star Trek. The Pallbearers, which is a wonderful movie. Matt Reeves directing, and a Whedonverse writer, Buffy and Angel and Firefly, wrote the movie Cloverfield.
Okay.
So, and to refresh, it's basically Godzilla told through the eyes of found footage. So, Blair Witch meets Godzilla.
Right. That's a good way to put it.
I sat down in this movie and with great trepidation, and it started, and we start at a party. You've probably seen from the trailer, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna like this. I don't like these people. These people are obnoxious, and the movie is so compelling that it sucked me in, and I was completely. I couldn't deny how compelling it was. When we talked about the trailer and the announcement of the movie, that this is how we see these events nowadays. This is how we saw 9/11. This is how we see news organizations have people send in eyewitness stuff with their handheld camera. That is how we experience these news. If this happened, this is how we would experience it. We would see it through the eyes of somebody on the ground. And that experience is so... it's just undeniably compelling. I bought it. I bought the performances. I didn't think I would. And it's really good. It's kind of depressing and horrifying. I'm surprised that as a culture, we're like, what, 6.5 years away from 9/11, and yet this is how we dramatize entertainment now. You know, we've come so far from that moment to, so that is this weird cognitive dissonance of, I don't know how to, I feel conflicted about that element of it, but I was so compelled by what was happening on screen that I couldn't help but be drawn into the experience.
Yeah. I did not think about it that much at all. I was probably the most scared of the group about how the handycam bullshit was gonna happen. The first 20 minutes of this movie is painful. It's painful, made me feared. I was tired. I didn't want to be at midnight screening. I was like, I hate the world. And then, as Jeff said, the action, well, first off, the first beginning part was so bad. You know it's really a bad situation when the audience claps as soon as an explosion happens because they know, good, now the movie can start. I mean, literally, the audience was like, finally. I mean, people were going, finally. So be warned about that. The motion sicky stuff does definitely happen. That sometimes you got to look away because it's like, Lord, stop running! I know it's scary. It is really cool. It's really cool. The scene where the first military thing happens, where like launcher over the head, holy shit, epic down the thing. You know, I mean, it really is like this is what it would be like if you were under the foot of a Godzilla in a city. That was really cool. One of the things that I do want to say is I'm so afraid that now there are going to be every other genre, aka Diary of the Dead, that is going to use this. And I will go back to what I originally said, which is I think that if you use this any more than the first time, it's a complete cop-out. It's cheaper for you, it's less footage, it's an instant way of getting that sort of like, oh no, I feel so much for these people, you know what I mean? This was great, and I would say if you even are remotely interested in monster movies, you should see this movie. it wasn't the best monster movie I've ever seen, but it was definitely sort of like a take on it that I hadn't seen. But I'm nervous that now we're gonna see the romantic comedy that is a wedding videos that some fucker found.
Well, Blair Witch, I mean, that would have happened, and that did happen after Blair Witch for a couple cheap straight-to-DVD stuff. So.
I know, and I'm good to slow down.
I just want to say real briefly about Die of the Dead that I feel really bad because this poor old man, George Romero, this movie was in production far before Cloverfield, and
Yeah, I kept thinking that during the thing was like,
poor
how
guy.
pissed is George Romero?
But
I know he kept saying like the new way to tell a story, a never before way to tell a story. It's like, nah, it happened 2 days ago, or today actually.
But
what did you think of it?
Cloverfield. It's definitely a movie that everyone should go see. It's hard to not be compelled. You know, it's got an immediate hook, and I actually think it's the first spectacle we've had since The Matrix. Like, even though this isn't a summer,
That's interesting.
But like The Matrix, my mom can go see, and not you have to care nothing for the characters and care nothing for the story. But you're like, wow, I've never seen anything look like that. I mean, you have in pieces in commercials or whatever, but you've never seen a movie told this way.
You think your mom could sit through this?
No, but she'd be like, "Wow, that's crazy."
Yeah, no.
I'm just saying,
I
like,
don't think my
I'm saying it's. But anyway,
I
that being said, I liked it the least of the bunch. The audience after the movie was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow, I really wish I had that feeling." I never got sucked
did.
in,
Oh,
and I
that's
think it's the technique had me always thinking about, conscious of like. Okay, so would he really be continuing to shoot here, and would okay, so he would turn it off there because he's speaking, and I was just like, wow, this looks really cool in this way, and I was always sort of thinking about how it was shot this way and how that effect looks, and it really took me out. And I find it interesting that it's a genre movie shot this way. This is not United 93 with monsters. It is not.
No.
It's interesting that like. Manufactured movies, like without this guise that this is supposed to be happening immediate and this is real, like the Spielberg War of the Worlds and Signs. Those feel more honest and true, and I am more thrilled and excited and feel like it's really happening because I am so involved in the story.
Yeah.
And this, which I should be even more involved because it's like I'm really there. I feel so much more removed from.
That's interesting.
It might be on
completely
my
disagree.
shoulders because I was so taken up by the guise of the movie.
That's what I was gonna say. I actually, when I was watching this, I was sort of most concerned for you because I was like, here's somebody who is, I mean, I consider all of us filmmakers in some way, but is a filmmaker, and I know that you would be looking at it like, and because I even had that thought, I was like, oh wow, I wonder, did they like train the kid how to shoot, or is it just clearly
voiceover
a
boy.
voiceover?
Which that really took me out too. You heard when he went into, he's in the booth.
That is on
saying
you,
the-
man.
Oh, that's
because
funny.
it's interesting that you guys looked at it through that prism, because I also looked at it through the prism of, it felt like Half-Life 2, the movie, a lot. I mean, you have the tunnel level, you have the building level.
Well, and how about the fact that the guy who is the character carrying the camera is called HUD.
HUD, yeah, heads-up display. I mean,
that's
it's
like-
very, yeah. But
I think
it's
that
interesting
way
that
about Blair Witch,
it borrows, well, Blair Witch.
I was inside Blair Witch. So
I think
one movie did it, one movie didn't do it for me. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. But
I think it borrows as much from video games as it borrows from, newsreel footage. And also, another thing that I was reminded of is a comic book that you guys probably haven't read called Marvels by Kurt Busiek and Alex Ross, which is the same kind, which is a fantastic comic. We're doing comic books this week, but it's a fantastic comic book. It's all about that. The stuff happening, the grand stuff happening, in this case of superheroes, from just an average dude on the street.
Oh yeah, you've told us about this.
And I thought that was interesting. I didn't really care about these particular characters, but I cared about their plight. I cared about the situation that they were in, because they weren't the heroes.
Yeah.
They weren't the guy who was fighting the monster. They're just some person in the middle of all this. Like,
I actually had that thought too when they started in the subway thing. I was like, I wonder if this is ever going to turn into that, like, they somehow figure something out.
I thought that
it was
praying.
nice
I was
that
like,
it didn't.
please don't do that.
I will say one other thing to know before we move off to other brighter topics. A very overall unsatisfactory, unsatisfying ending to me. I was like,
I was
oh,
surprised.
please don't
I thought
stop.
it was still gonna
I was
have
like,
another half.
Yeah, and I was like, please don't stop. Please don't. Oh, okay. And then I was
let's
like,
not
well, that's
spoil
what it's
anything.
doing.
I think one of the
No,
things that I
but-
liked most about this movie is that I really had no idea what was going to happen.
Well, that's true. Oh, dude, can we just talk about the night vision thing?
Well, it's not, actually.
Yeah.
What's the next topic, man?
Yeah. Well, let me just say real quick. I think it was the promise of everything you said made me wish that it wasn't just the genre movie. Like, I felt like, wow, this could really be important. When the fact that it is just the people on the ground, this could feel like it's 9/11. And then
I think it did. To me, it really
When
did.
the
didn't to me just
soldiers
because
said,
they're
when the
yeah.
soldiers said, let's rag them and tag them and stack them, and it's
Like
like
before that,
this
I was
is-
already so in the moment where they go at the very beginning when they go into the store and that smoke goes. I mean, I saw
Right.
that exact video.
Oh, me too.
You know,
Yeah.
all of
That's
us
what
did.
made me feel like
And that
this
one-
could be important. And
I almost didn't know how to feel. I almost felt like, oh, is this? This feels wrong almost.
Yeah, I didn't have any of that feeling. I just sort of thought the same thing as Dan, which was, boy, if I really actually liked the characters or cared about their lives, this would be much more impressive. At the time, I was going, wow, that looks like really maybe I saw, or am I going to see the foot of the thing? Is the thing going to go by? Am I going to see the foot? That's what I was feeling, not, oh no, HUD and his friends that I give two shits
Totally
about.
agree. No, I'm sorry guys that we're running long on this, but I need to say that the cinematography I think is incredible, and I don't mean the camera work. I mean, like literally the lighting, which is something that we don't always think about. But you know, I think most people are going to go to this movie and assume that they walked to the streets of New York with a video camera and
Right.
shot this stuff, or they
Right.
walked into the department store, which really clicked for me. And
the hardest
someone-
stuff is that what you don't notice.
Yeah, and
exactly.
someone had to light this in a way that it does not look lit. But it also had a really nice look to it. It had this very mixed lighting, multicolored but natural, but it had to feel like, and this guy's gonna get the director gets credit for being unnoticed, and the editor gets credit for being unnoticed, but the cinematographer usually, we see a gorgeous looking film.
Right,
So the
yeah, yeah.
orphanage, gorgeous.
I
even
feel like
though-
we could talk about this movie for a long time because I think it's an important movie. It's stylistically, and it's important. It felt very young. It felt very new. It's like the YouTube, post-YouTube
Yeah,
world.
although I did not like that about the movie, because I felt like,
We got it. We said it. Real quickly, what's in front of this movie, and hopefully we can grab it online by the time that our show airs.
if not, we'll get the epic screen grab.
Yeah. Is the trailer for Star Trek.
The
J.J.
teaser,
Abrams.
teaser trailer, which is really just one production still.
Star
It's
Trek
basically
Yeah.
Star
should
Trek
say.
prequel directed by J.J. Abrams with a very young cast that we've been talking about on shows
Yeah.
previous to this one. Basically, the teaser trailer is footage of the Starship Enterprise being built with audio from, I guess, Neil Armstrong.
A bunch of different things.
bunch of
It was
different
like
things.
Kennedy.
But what-
Audio collage.
And I will start
About
this off
space stuff.
by saying that when I heard the clip, one small step for
Man.
giant step for mankind, and I'm watching Star Trek, the Enterprise being built, framed in that way. With that audio, it made me appreciate Star Trek in a way that I've never thought about Star Trek in that way.
That's the feeling they wanted you to have about Enterprise, the TV show.
Oh.
And that is why I was always disappointed. I'm so excited to have this movie. I'm a huge Star Trek fan, as I'm sure people could tell. I'm so excited that we're getting a correctly done prequel to Star Trek, because Enterprise was supposed to give you that feeling. Enterprise was supposed to be that, like, this is us for the first time as a race, as an actual species, being allowed to break out and meet other species for the first time. And that's what Star Trek was supposed to, I mean, that we caught it, as this is the normal thing. And now we get to see this. So I was so balls to the wallsies as it. I mean, I'm still a little nervous because, it's all new.
I'm
and stuff
really
like that,
nervous,
but-
and I was really underwhelmed. But the best thing about that trailer for me
Sound?
was Leonard Nimoy's
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah.
I have so many worries about it that this little bit of non-footage doesn't
Yeah.
quell any of my fears.
Well, we knew that was going to
I'm just terrified it's going to be a soap opera and not all the things you said, which I think
Right, that's
is
what
I
Enterprise
want to
was.
see.
And that's what Enterprise was. You know
yeah.
what I mean? It was more sort of tongue-in-cheeky.
Star Trek was always so fantastical. It was so it's just a bunch of dudes. And this made me feel like it's about exploring and all the things that probably most people that got into Star Trek
Yeah,
felt.
right,
But I
right.
was never brought in, and I feel like he's gonna bring me. J.J. Abrams is gonna bring me in.
I hope you're right, dude.
I hope so too. Pants.
Okay, we're in the video game section this week, and a new demo came out. It came out on Xbox Live, unless you're in North America. It came out. All of our international friends got a chance to play it on Xbox Live, but
interesting.
for anybody domestic to us, you'd have to get it on the PS3, on PSN, and that's the new Turok game.
Why is that?
There was a exclusivity deal with Xbox Magazine. Official Xbox Magazine to have the demo on their disc. So,
Oh, so you can get it. So if you did want it, rather than download it, you could just get the OXM and get
that's
the
what we're
disc.
doing now is promoting the Xbox Magazine.
Well, no, it confused me. I was like,
Yeah,
maybe
no,
the
it's
release
fun. That's
date.
why.
Like, I thought maybe the release date was going to be different in the States than in the international. I
It'll
thought that
probably
was-
come out later. It's probably like timed exclusive for the magazine to have as a demo. Anyway,
Yeah,
we played the demo. It's the new Turok game. Turok is a dinosaur hunter. It's a long-standing series that's been on a lot of different platforms. It's sort of man with weaponry versus dinosaurs. FPS.
And also men with weaponry.
And also men with weaponry, because you can't just fight dinosaurs. You gotta have
Yeah,
other.
that'd be
You gotta be able to
stupid.
pick up ammo from somebody.
That would be stupid.
So we played all of the demo on the PS3. Danny, how did you feel about it?
Well, Turok, I remember the original Nintendo 64 game, dug it. This Turok is a game that I keep on forgetting is coming out, and every time I see a screenshot for it, I remember a Game Informer magazine that was on the cover, and I was like, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Like, I always
Really?
forget, and then every time the idea of I'm a dinosaur hunter, and I'm like in fight, and there's dinosaurs. that
you have
pop
bow
out
and
of
arrows
shit,
always,
and I
which
got
I
bow
always
and
like.
arrows. Like the idea of that is, and the look of those screenshots.
It's like when Reign of Fire was coming out,
Yes.
and I was like, dinosaurs versus tanks? I'm there.
Yeah, absolutely. Dragons, but yes.
Dragons
'Cause dragons are
versus
cooler
tanks.
than dinosaurs.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But not by much. Let's go.
Yes.
By fire.
I think they're related anyway.
They are.
And by flying.
Yeah.
So what did I think of Turok, you asked?
The demo.
The demo.
A mere slice of the actual game.
Right, right. Okay, I'm trying to remember what I thought, but what I do know, I'm trying to specifically what I thought, but I remember I really didn't like it, and I really wanted to put the controller down time and time again throughout playing it. I moved very slowly, I remember that. I liked double shotguns, that was fun. Aiming was not fun. Nothing really seemed to be fun to me. The graphics weren't that great. I hated being underground in that cave. Enjoyed
you
it
got
more
past the cave,
when
right?
I was outside. I liked the first knifing of the guy, that was fun, and then I died a bajillion times. Then I realized, okay, walking around knifing, that was cool.
It's like Dan's
But-
stream of consciousness through the
but-
demo.
That's what he
But
says.
this is a game that, like, I realized when I was playing it, I was like, why? It went from a game that I couldn't wait to talk about to a game that I feel weird talking about on our show. It's as if we're talking about, in movies, we're reviewing the new straight-to-video Van Damme movie. I feel like it's like one of those,
subpar.
like what Stunt Magician should have been, but it's awesome, so it wasn't that. But I
don't know, our
like
poll
what's another
seems
game?
to
Like one of
suggest
the games they just throw
mixed.
out there.
Yeah, shovelware type.
Shovelware.
Yeah, it's like B-list. Yeah.
Yeah, this suddenly became shovelware as I was playing.
Do you agree with Dan's assessment?
Oh yeah, and probably more harshly. This is a horrible game. I mean,
Based on the demo. which
Based
is
on the
really
demo,
yeah, but
good.
Absolutely.
hey, honestly, let's call it spade a
Throws a
spade
shit.
here. You know what a demo's supposed to do? Make you want to fucking buy a game. So if that's not what your demo does, don't release a demo. So let's, I mean, you know, yeah, it's not the full game, but this is the best foot that they got to put forward right now. So let's just say, downloaded it, played it. Didn't
Those are
want
two things that we can
didn't-
say about it.
Didn't want to continue playing it. I mean, it's muddy. The graphics are not good. It's muddy.
Yeah.
It was
Well, here's
hard
the
to
thing.
play.
The Turok games have been kind of universally accepted as being bad for a while now. And this was
Other than
supposed
the
to be a return to form.
Yeah, no, it was pretty clear that they want this to be Gears of War, and a Gears of War it is not. It was not fun at all until the stabby part. I kind of like the flashback. A lot of very like not Psychonauts. What was the one where you get the psychic powers and the training missions are all
Psyops.
Psyops, which was actually pretty fun if you got it for free like I did. So I had like the backstory thing with the knifing. I was kind of cool.
That's like the stealth part.
It's a stealth
which
part.
clearly is going to be a large part of the game.
And it clearly has absolutely dick all to do with stealth. It has to do with
He's trained by a
running
guy who
and
looks,
stabbing.
He's trained by a guy who looks
Solid
a lot
Snake.
like Solid
yeah,
Snake.
I know. The whole thing is very Solid Snakey.
Yeah.
So Yeah, not good. And I wasn't all that excited. I've enjoyed the concept, like you said, like the archery. It sort of felt a little bit like Dukes of Hazzard. You know what I mean? Like there's something about archery to me that go way back to Dukesies, where I can blow shit up from afar. You know what I mean? So I had that going on. Dinos are cool.
All right.
What did you think, Jeff?
I agree that I was underwhelmed by the game. I think a lot of the problem that I had was the animations. What you said is right. The hook to this game is you're gonna fight dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Don't make the dinosaurs feel like every other monster you've played in every other game.
Right.
When you have velociraptors that are just little monsters that are running at you, it feels like any other alien attack game. You gotta find out what makes dinosaurs cool and deliver that to me in the game. And I think what makes dinosaurs cool is the feeling of weight, the feeling that they're an actual animal.
Yeah, they didn't feel big at all.
Well, I'm hoping that maybe other parts of the game will have
Valve
giant Tyrannosaurus Rex or whatever, giant
Well, there was
Brontosaurus.
that. I mean, it did come out.
One time
in
it came
April,
out,
Yeah.
wasn't all
which
that
we
good.
know where that.
I liked the fact that they were little like,
Everything.
the vegetarian ones. What are those called?
the little guys.
Yeah.
Little
I started
guys.
shooting
They're
them
called
for a
little
very
guys.
long time because I didn't know if they were going to turn
The
and attack.
vegetarian ones.
What?
They're-
There's a
what-
word.
What's the
Yeah.
word that you
No,
learned
not
growing up?
Veggiesaur.
No,
Herbivores. Herbivores.
No, I'm sorry.
It's so funny,
Veggiesaurs.
'cause we all
I'm sorry.
grew up-
That's what it is. Veggiesaur.
We all grew
That's
up.
amazing, Jeff.
And you learn carnivore and herbivore when you learn about dinosaurs
I
when
know.
you're a kid. So you go with the vegetarian ones. That's
right.
genius. Can I
Moving
just
on,
say to you,
moving
like
on.
every time I saw like remember Dino Crisis? Like,
Yeah.
I always got like,
That
that's
game's
gonna be
terrible,
great.
too.
It's dinosaurs. in
Dinosaurs
space.
with armor in
you're like,
space.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
come on.
It's
dinosaur-
Dinaliens.
The dinosaur animations are terrible.
Yeah.
They're terrible. Okay.
Although the Veggiesaurs
moving
looked really
on
cool.
from that. Another game that's being updated that we talked about recently is Bionic Commando from Capcom. And that game is getting a brand new makeover next-gen style coming out hopefully this year.
For
We'll cross our
Xbox
fingers.
Live, not working, PSN.
No. This is for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. The big, third-person next-gen
Oh,
version.
the big fancy upgrade.
Yes.
Yes.
We talked about that a few episodes ago. Recently, what has been announced is not only are they doing that, but they are also taking the old 2D side-scroller and updating the graphics for that, and it will be released on Xbox Live and PSN as a
Yes.
downloadable game. I am thrilled about this. Far more excited than I am about the next-gen version. I loved
video of it,
Bionic
yeah.
Commando. I loved playing the old NES game, and the fact, I wish there were more games that they would take from those old game days and just update the graphics and add new, like there's gonna be
And functions.
two-player co-op, there's gonna be
You can do more with the bionic arm.
pull
better
guys
weapons.
at you and throw them. Looks amazing. Are
Yeah.
you in agreement with me that this is awesome?
I couldn't be more excited about this game. I was not very excited about Bionic Commando, the next gen version. Huge fan of Bionic Commando on the NES. When that game starts, like the video starts, I was excited because it was Bionic Commando. I was like,
hear the
oh,
music,
yay. No, and it was even the same graphics. I was like, oh, I'm so excited. This is awesome. I can't believe they announced it. And then it like switches into the updated version of the
music
graphics.
gets fucking.
Epic, and I shit my pants. I mean, I was like, $10 flew out of my wallet. It
let's
just
hope
happened.
It's only $10.
$100 flew out of my wallet. This will probably be one of the
Well,
most
let's hope
fun
it's not
games.
$100.
This is probably one of the most fun gaming experiences I will have in the beginning of 08.
They didn't say that that the co-op was gonna be over the internet, which I hope it is. That would be
well,
so
how could
great.
you not, though? I mean, it's
Well, they
delivered
could-
over the internet.
could
It's
easily not.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Dan, are you excited?
Similar to you guys, could not be more excited. I will say I am also very excited for the next gen.
You were on the bandwagon.
We will reap my words when that comes out, and it's awesome.
I'm excited to reap your words.
I can't wait to reap words. But this looks freaking dope, dude.
I know, right?
Now, but in my heart of hearts,
Oh, no.
what do I really know?
Nothing.
I will download it.
I thought it was a
I will
question.
download it.
Sorry.
Yes.
I will
And
start playing. It will
everybody
be a lot
says,
of fun.
ding.
10 minutes will go by, and I'll felt content.
Yes.
Having just played that, and I will never play it again.
Yes.
I actually disagree.
that's
I
my-
hope it doesn't
I
happen.
think I'm gonna be sucked into this game. I think it's gonna be awesome.
I remember it being really fun, and I want to play. And I tried to play it again. Like I got my NES out and like made it work and played for a little bit. But then it was like you got to do the update to the graphics because at the end of the day, you just kind
Capcom
of
has been great about this. I mean, they're doing the HD version of Street Fighter.
Yep.
They did the update for Double
Contra.
Dragon.
Didn't they do Contra?
So yeah.
Well, there's
that's
a
right.
new Contra for DS that they
Oh
just
yeah,
came out
yeah,
with.
yeah, yeah.
All those things
Oh,
you
that's
just
not
mentioned.
that's Konami.
I had that experience with those things you just mentioned. I downloaded the new Street Fighter. I downloaded the newer Double Dragon. And there's a
Contra. I thought Command.
Akari Warriors. What was the other?
Commando, they're going to do supposedly a Commando.
I don't know. Whatever. it was.
Anyway, we're
But
excited
very
about that.
excited.
Anyway.
That's it.
All right.
It is time once again for us to delve into the funny books, comic books. Back in the show this week, I'm excited.
Whoa.
I know. All of a sudden, I was like,
I went to announce a voice guy.
yeah.
what did you say?
And so,
Did you say announcer boot camp?
voice, I think I said.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was announcer, voice guy.
I thought you said I just went to announcer boot camp, and I was like, oh, cool.
I did. They whip you into shape vocally.
Nice.
5 minutes later, we started talking about comics.
Not my fault.
I know. Sorry.
And one of my favorite comic book writers, and I know Dan's also, is a gentleman by the name of Garth Ennis, who is he wrote Preacher. He wrote a lot of the Punisher books lately.
Didn't we read something on the show that he did?
Not yet, which is one of the reasons why we're bringing up The Boys, which is one of his more recent projects. It's a book that he originally started doing for DC. DC got a little uncomfortable with the subject matter and canceled the book, and it just got recently picked up by Dynamite Comics. So it's going to be, he originally envisioned it as a 60-issue series like his, I would say, magnum opus, Preacher, which, if you haven't checked out the episode of iFanboy that they just did one on Preacher. It's a great place to start because it's a way for us to. I feel like this is a way for us to talk about Garth Ennis as a whole, but they did a great feature on Preacher, which is if you haven't read it, you have to read it. It's amazing.
I haven't read it.
And you're over 18 because it needs to be over 18.
I haven't read it. I'll read it.
Indeed. Anyway, so The Boys is about a universe of superheroes where the superheroes don't act all that heroic all the time. They have a front of being heroic, and what they're really doing is being pretty terrible. And so the US government has a group of people who kind of make sure that they stay in line and or punish them when they step out of line. This is, again, a very adult book. So if you're under 18, probably not the best book for you. It's even more, I would say. Garth Ennis actually says it out-preachers Preacher, and I think what he means is it's more extreme, more sexual content, more violence, really, really pushing the limits of what's acceptable. We all read it. I know you haven't really read any Garth Ennis before, I don't think, right?
No.
What did you think of the book?
I loved it. I thought it was great. I was at the library. That's interesting. I was at the bookstore afterwards, and I thought, I'm gonna pick up the next, big trade. I can't fucking remember what trade, book, issue, paper, whatever. Thicky with more than one issue.
Thicky.
So I was gonna go pick up
the first trade, which is what we read. I think it has 5 issues in it.
I thought it was the first.
So
I think it's 5 or 6.
So issue is like a book,
monthly, floppy.
and trade is a bunch of them.
Exactly.
Fuck me in the ass.
And graphic novel is its own thing.
Okay.
Well,
Well, all right. Well, either way,
sketchy how they use that.
Trade and issue is all I need to know. So we read the first trade. I was at a bookstore and I thought I want to get the second trade because I want to keep reading this, which is great. It is way over the top, and you gotta know that it's over the top, and that it's tongue-in-cheek is the wrong way to put it, but it's over the top on purpose. You know what I mean? But I love the idea of it. I love the sort of team building of it. I loved, the chopped off arms in their hand, like genius.
Anyway, what did you think?
That was a great moment. I need to say something real quickly about Preacher to talk about this book, because Preacher to me is like Jeff's favorite show. Preacher is my shield.
Well,
Preacher
I'm
is
going to share in that.
Okay.
It's the greatest. I would say it's the greatest
story ever told.
Well, I don't know. It's a great comic book story.
For me,
Better than the
for me,
Bible. The Preacher.
For me, the Preacher is the greatest story ever told. You guys know how much I love movies.
Yeah.
I love Preacher more than any movie I have ever seen. I love it more than any song I ever heard. I love it more than any comic or book I've ever read. I think it's amazing. So please go read it and please go watch that iFanboy episode. That being said, Garth Ennis,
See what happens.
and I'm rereading it now for the third time, and it's big. Garth Ennis stated, as Jeff said earlier, he's with the boys, he's going to out-Preacher. I do not think he did that. And I interpret it more as story. I didn't really know if he meant
he intended it that way.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if it's how I thought, story-wise, I think he came closer with a smaller graphic novel called Pride and Joy, which we've actually all read as well.
Yeah.
You've read that. We didn't talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
The Boys, to me, would have been so much better if he did what he did in his earlier work, and with giving it a heart. I liked the concept, I liked the story, but it wasn't really saying anything.
Heartless,
and,
as it were.
And, you know, it could have said something about good guys having to do bad to do good. The perfect platform with superheroes and getting into the nitty-gritty and creating them real. The Cloverfield of superhero stories, you could almost say this is. In saying that this is the real, I mean, it's extreme, of course. But, and from what I know of The Shield, that it probably tells that kind of story better than the boy about.
You don't know anything about
I don't know anything about The Shield. Okay, fine.
Well, he knows
That
some
being
things that he
said,
shouldn't know about
I'm
The
really
Shield.
disappointed because it just doesn't. There's great ideas in it, but really, to me, and I hate when people say this about Garth Ennis, about it being vulgar for vulgar's sake. But it's missing that heart that I think would have put this on the next level.
Dan, I completely agree with you, actually, and I was really disappointed with The Boys. I think it's cynical writing, and it's so cynical that it turned me off.
So I'm the one that actually liked the comic book? That's amazing.
And I mean,
Maybe it's because I don't have any of that backstory.
yeah,
I'd have no back
probably
history.
true.
I'm
I
like,
mean,
this was funny and fun.
it's hard not to compare this, which he states at the outset is a 60-issue grand story that he's going to set out on. It's hard not to compare it to Preacher.
Right.
And it's almost unfair to compare it to Preacher, but so much of his work, Just a Pilgrim,
Yes.
I mean,
also
pieces.
great. Yeah.
so much of his work does have that heart, means something, and is still very violent, very over the top, very extreme, smart, funny even. This book is both smart and funny, but it doesn't have, as you said, it doesn't have the heart, it doesn't have a quality of having something really to say. It's just being cynical and contrary, almost.
And don't you think that if this was, he's done Punisher and Nick Fury stuff, that I don't care. That it can just
well,
be
but
for
a lot
fun.
of his Punisher stuff is really
I've only read the first-
heartfelt.
But this is such a platform to be about something.
See, I thought the whole deal was that it wasn't about something. I mean, for me, I took it the whole thing was, this is all the superhero worlds are about that, and that is gone in this superhero world, and really it's about these guys are lethal weapons, and for the most part, nobody gives a shit when they accidentally kill people or do bad things
That
on
is something.
purpose.
What you're saying is something.
No,
That's what I got out of the book.
I think he's right. I mean, I think that's what Ennis set out to do.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. That's
Yeah.
what it is. It's just a little too nihilistic for me. It's just so dark,
Well,
and
maybe
it's so
that's the-
postmodern, and like it needs to be. It needs to be that contrary to make an impact. And it's like, okay, well, I get it. I mean, we've had a whole 20 years now, everything post Watchmen, Dark Knight, that is like superheroes, like what would that really, if people really did get killed in the crossfire, what would really happen? And I'm just taking it that extreme and that dark and that violent and that just, all the denigration stuff. It's
See,
just,
but I thought maybe it's just because I hadn't read The Preacher. I thought that's the shit that you guys said The Preacher was all about. I thought
in a way.
I thought,
But Preacher has.
Yeah, I know,
it's-
but
that shit
for
happens,
me-
but it's fucking.
I know, but like for me, when I was reading it, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. So this is that genre, as it were, genre of There's going to be really bad words. There's going to be a lot of denigrating sex. There's going to be dogs humping poodles, and it's going to be that, and arms chops off.
And honestly, I want people to listen to you, Alex, because I think this is a comic book that would bring a lot of people. For people that Watchmen certainly brings a lot of people in, but I also think that
I think
Watchmen's a little bit.
I think
like,
Watchmen's
this
a
is
little
more
too heavy.
accessible. Right, exactly. And I
Yeah.
think there's a
And it's
whole
genuinely
crop
funny.
of people.
Well, let's go really
Yeah.
quick. We gotta hit our second book because a buddy of ours, friend of the show, Ed Piskor, he did a new book that he started self-publishing called Wizzywig, and it's completely the other end of the spectrum from this. Black and white art, 4 panels per page, very.
And each one's made as an actual art piece that you can buy, which is cool.
Yeah, it's about a character named Boing Thump, who goes by that moniker.
AKA Kevin Mitnick.
Right. It's an amalgam of Kevin Mitnick and a lot of
Captain
those
Crunch and-
those
yeah.
those hackers
20
that were
yeah.
around in the late 70s, early
The
80s.
2800 Club guys.
Exactly. And it kind of examines, it's the origin
2600,
story
sorry.
of this notorious Uber hacker the kind of guy who would hack into the government computers or whatever. And it's a really sort of small, intimate tale about the kinds of things that made up that kind of personality, that very nerdy, geeky math mind,
Yeah.
how that person is shaped and turned into this kind of thing. What did you think of it?
It was good. It was a little. I mean, coming from The Boys, and then I'm now reading the new.
New Avengers.
The New Avengers. So to put those books down and then pick this up, it's such a. For me, I think it was a hard gear shift. Because it was so, as you said, it was sort of small and more about the characters and funny, and it actually felt a lot like that book, the mutant book we read.
Street Angel?
No, the other one,
Black Hole.
the same Black Hole. But I think ultimately I enjoyed it, and it was fun, and it was sort of interesting because I think a lot of that stuff, even though it's maybe a little heightened, sort of mirrored a lot of my upbringings, and so
felt exactly
you know what I mean.
I was reading, so I was like, Alex has to love this.
Well, I think
like his
that
alley.
yeah, I think had I not been coming from
Yeah, superheroes and
punching the cooter and stuff, you know what I mean? Like this would have really been, and so I think
another Dukes of Hazzard reference, really?
Yeah, actually,
in one show?
we punch a mechanic is really what they do in The Boys. So yeah, I mean, it had that life of it that was just sort of really familiar to me and like sort of really sweet.
I definitely agree with you. The book grew on me as I read it. At the beginning, it was felt a little cold, and it felt a little like I'm being told a story rather than
Right.
shown a story.
That's interesting,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, but by the end of it, I felt so much for the character, and I mean that kind of youth that
Yeah.
is very much
Yeah.
my youth.
Yeah.
I knew guys like that, and I was a guy like
Yeah.
that. A lot of it's about having difficulties,
Communicating with girls?
communicating with girls, but at a specific age, at that like 14-year-old age where you don't even know anything, and you're more comfortable in front of a computer, which is totally my story.
Yeah.
What did you think, Dan?
Well, OMG, I loved it. And I am like, I can't believe, like, I'm so psyched that this guy watches our show. Like, I'm like, I thought it was like a fan thing that, when I was like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is awesome, and I think so many people will find this awesome, and I would hope that they seek it out, and we'll have a link to.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to get it because I didn't forget to look that
I know,
up.
but there's a link
he's
on our show
self-publishing,
notes
so-
to get it.
Yeah.
This is like either a superhero origin story, except the superhero is a normal hacker guy, or
Yeah.
it's like Walk the Line about a hacker. Like,
Oh, that's
it's just-
interesting.
it is. You get to see and that's a world that in media is so misrepresented.
Well, that's the
And
other thing,
Like
it was so-
movies
it
like
was
Hackers
true. Yeah.
and like whatever, so stupid. And we get to see what shapes the kind of mind that would think about how things are made, so that when you're hacking into a computer system,
Yeah.
you can, and it was awesome. It was awesome.
I read a book when I was
really
about
cool.
that age called Hackers by Stephen Levy, and it had a huge impact on me. It was about all those dudes,
Yeah.
about the Bay Area, Silicon Valley scene as it exploded. It's
Yeah.
about Steve Wozniak. It's about all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think kids that were my age when I read that now, reading this comic book, it'll resonate with them because I felt like, oh God, I know those guys. Those are my heroes.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see the next volume when he really talks about him getting into his hacker phase.
Yeah, and it ended on such a cliffhanger. I rarely feel that like the way Lost should make me feel when I reach the end of an
Right.
episode, or Heroes, whatever. When it ended, I was like, I want the next thing. It was great.
That's really cool. Well, before we get to our sponsors, before we get to our email, we would like to know what you're all about. Revision 3 is having a network-wide, I was gonna say nationwide survey.
What was that schoolgirl giggle?
I know, it's
We
vaguely.
want to know what you're all about.
We
What are
do.
you all about?
What's your deal? If you could take 5 minutes and let us know about yourself, please, please, please do so. Head to revision3.com/survey. Sponsorships can now begin. Jeffrey?
Well, I will start the sponsorships with our good friend GoDaddy.com. They're a great place if you want a domain as low as $1.99. Head over there, register, get your .com, get your what have yous. And they also have really cool software that helps you design a website and publish a website, easy starter kits. Use our promo code. It gets you an additional 10% off your order. And that
Nice.
promo code is as follows, TRS1. The number 1, TRS1.
Gorgeous. Danny Seeds.
Netflix, of course. If you don't know who Netflix is, you really are not a cool person. I don't know. That's
Good.
the
That
least
was
offensive
good.
thing that came to my brain.
That was good,
For
yeah.
that reason. Netflix is online renting. They have 75,000 titles, including Blu-ray and HD DVD.
Dude, speaking of which, I just through Netflix got Blu-ray versions of Lost Season 3, because I made a promise to some people in the forums that I would watch Lost Season 3.
Nice.
And I just got the Blu-ray versions through Netflix.
That's awesome.
Nice.
It's so cool.
That's awesome. And we watched HD DVD The Thing the other day.
We did.
Through Netflix.
Through Netflix.
Nice.
So they have like 40 shipment centers, so you get your flick like the next day. Did that happen with Lost, Jeff?
Yeah.
Probably did.
the next day.
In fact, I'm supposed to be getting one today.
And they have plans for $4.99 and up. Really cool. Steve and I were chatting earlier about how now they have unlimited watch now, unlimited play now. So for as many hours as you want, for all the things that they offer Play Now for, you can watch those things immediately on your PC. It's pretty rad.
Love it. Where would I go to find that
Right,
information?
www.netflix.com/TRS. The wwws are needed in order to make this happen.
Very well said, sir. Very well
right.
said, sir. Let's get to our email. This email comes from Joe. He says, "Hey guys, my question for you is, what movie version of the future do you want to happen? And what version do you think is most likely? Thanks, Joe. P.S. I have no idea which one is most likely in my mind, but I would definitely like to be in the Jetsons."
Excellent.
Excellent
Yeah,
choice.
this is
Hard
really
to
cool.
beat Trump that one.
Well,
I
suitcase cars.
loved the Jetsons
I
growing
was
up.
Jetsons not. I was more of a Hannah.
That is Hanna-Barbera.
No. I mean the
Captain Caveman,
no.
Scooby-Doo, and
No.
whenever Superman and Robin would show up.
No, it was a weird,
I always
like-
watched it waiting for them to show up.
No, it
You
was
would
the
help
weird.
something?
No. It was the weird like gelatinous balls, and you were like, it almost looked like the
bears?
Beastmaster and had a double-edged lightning sword.
What? Double balls? Thundercats?
No.
Thundura?
Wow.
Thundura?
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 Thundura, I think, is something. I really do, though.
That word is something. Thundura. Yeah, it's something like that. Thundar. Thundar the Barbarian.
Yeah, Thundar the Barbarian.
So
Wow.
that's where I'd go. That's
That
my
happens.
planet, space peeps.
No.
Anyway,
What were we talking
What's
about?
your future?
your
Jack?
future, sir.
What's the
Oh,
future?
most likely, I'm gonna say most likely I think is probably Strange Days.
Whoa, bro. Oh,
I don't even know
no,
what that
you're
means.
already proven wrong, because that was 1999.
That's true.
You're
2000
already beyond it.
Whoa, a mere technicality.
Hey, I'm not choosing space 1999. That shit didn't
Get to
happen.
George Orwell's 1984.
Thank you.
Why not?
Because it's
it's our future that
1984. We
worked.
passed it.
No.
That's a lie. That's a future lie.
I know.
Okay, I
At that
Right,
time,
he's right.
they said this is a vision of the future.
I know.
This,
Okay.
it's me.
But we did already prove that it's not likely because it didn't happen. But I'm just saying.
okay, so go ahead.
But no, you're
Most
right. I
likely,
get what you're saying,
Okay,
Jeff. I
strange
get
days,
it.
strange
You're
days,
right.
strange days, strange days.
Change it.
What's
Because
your?
like VR, you know, like a full VR world where that's how we get our media. That'd
Yeah,
be awesome.
that does sound
I mean,
fun.
not. I mean,
Well, yeah.
It turned out not
I'd
to be
love to
awesome
be
in the
a
movie.
chick and.
What I would like is a much more difficult question. We talk about Star Trek. That's not a bad future to live in. Global harmony, dogs and cats living together.
Mass hysteria up space guys.
Right.
Gotta deal with the spaceys.
But I wish the
Klingon
Jetsons
Orion.
is such a good one. I know what I want. I just came to me. Take out the war. I want Robotech. I want giant mechs that I can walk around in. I want robots. I want jets that transform. I want motorcycle mechs. Robotech me up, bros.
Well, without the war, it's robot jocks where their wars are fought
Don't.
in battles in like staged sporting events.
Eric
with giant
Roberts knows
robots.
some stuff about
Not
that.
Eric
No, I
Roberts,
always
he
think
looks
it's
like
Eric
Eric
Roberts.
Roberts.
But it was Chris Penn.
He was in it briefly, I think. Or
Chris Penn? No,
no,
he's in
his
it.
trainer
Stay on
for Best of the
target.
Best.
Stay on
Okay.
target.
Mine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I would love to be in the future that is Demolition Days, portrayed in Demolition Man, because then I would finally know what the 3 seashells do.
I thought you did tell you somebody.
I don't remember. I think it was.
You don't remember?
It was either
waited.
that they didn't do anything, that they just said it, or I think it was something like they scoop. Like you scoop with one and you put in the other, and then you.
This
disgusting.
is a very underwhelming
This is
result.
Okay, so what
but
do you
it's
think
a little
it's
bit
gonna be?
too sweet.
Okay.
So
So you want to be
think-
Dennis Leary
No,
from
it has
Demolition
to be
Man?
Back to the Future 2.
Oh yeah.
Because
Hoverboards.
hoverboards, there's
Yeah.
jackets that fit me and the.
What do you think is
sneakers.
most likely?
Most likely, this is a weird one. I'm gonna say taking out the premise basically in Children of Men, where not
Dystopian?
Listen, not the last. Well, that's only because all of a sudden we started not giving birth to people anymore. But take that aspect out of it and just the universe, the way that they portrayed the billboards were
Yeah.
which we have now in LA, billboards that are video.
Yeah, I know
And
that.
the computers.
Billboards or videos is a
Because what was
wonderful
such a,
future.
No, most likely.
Yeah, not wonderful.
most
Most
likely.
likely. That was the first movie, and I'm jealous of this, and I love it. But it really said, not flying cars, not just let's make it a little bit more futuristic, because that's really more realistic. That's probably what it's going to be like.
Yeah. I'm going to say for me, it's Blade Runner is my most likely, I think. 'Cause I
So
think-
flying cars.
Well, but minus the I mean, not really
And
the flying
flames
cars.
coming out of buildings.
Because I really think androids are going to be happening at some point, and
Yeah.
those androids are going to be like, F you guys, because we're pretty cool, but we're not going to be like, we want to take over, kill human race, Transformer style, or, Sarah
Terminator
Connor
style.
Chronicles style.
That's the reference. It can't be Terminator. It has to be Sarah Connor.
Not
Chronicles.
anymore.
Hey,
That's what they did to that.
Welcome to the
My
millennium
future, where I want to live, Fifth Element.
game.
I want to live a gaudy lifestyle. I want to be in bright, funky clothing.
The fifth element
Really?
is love.
Yeah, dude, it's all
Can you
about
put on
love.
bright funky clothing right now?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
So that's
I
all-
like it. Very good.
Thank
Very good
you.
answers all around.
Good work.
Well done.
I want to be the wave from the perfect storm in the
don't-
future.
Don't rip yourself off, James.
Yeah.
It's unseemly.
Well, that's it for this week's edition of the Totally Rad Show. If you want to send us an email, you may do so to fans@thetotallyrad.show, and by that I mean totallyradshow.com. Although we also do have the Totally Rad Show as well.
Oh, don't do that.
I just did it accidentally.
No,
Happened.
don't send any emails there because we'll never get them.
No, they'll go to what we call the Totally Rad Show trash dump.
That's where you would also send a background like our friend Eric did here
Correct.
with this cool Cloverfield background, fans@totallyradshow.com. Also check out our forums. They are at totallyradshow.com, and they're a really cool community of like-minded
Correctamundo.
individuals.
Also on the website that we've just said many times is the Rad Recommendations bar, where
Correctamundo.
you can find many of the things that we've discussed on the show today to purchase.
No need to list them. Thank you.
I will not list them this
You know what
week.
we also have on that website? A poll.
Oh, that's right. We figured out the poll. We're gonna say, go to the website. What version of Bionic Commando are you most excited about? The 2D or the 3D version?
Next gen or
Yeah, that's
They're both
3D.
next gen, but one is
2D, one's
2D
3D.
and 3D.
okay. And
Social networking. Where would I go for that?
MySpace, Alex,
Nice,
MySpace.
nice.
MySpace.com/TotallyRadShow. Become a friend. Find out the movie we're going to review ahead of time. Actually, I can just say it on the show because it's fairly obvious if you don't already know. It's Rambo next week.
Hello,
which is
Bo.
interesting.
It is interesting.
And that's our
And everybody likes my sweatshirt. If you want one, head over to jinx.com/TRS. Until next week, I'm Alex Albrecht.
I'm Jeff Canada.
I'm Dan Trachtenberg.
Hopefully beyond next week, we'll still be those people.
I don't know, I'm changing my name tomorrow. I just want to say one word to you. Then we gotta go again. Podcasts. Podcasts.
Oh, I had it. I was stoned.
I was out. No. One word to you. Just one word.
You did it. You did it.
I did not. I was... Podcasts. You listening?
Yes, I am.
I saw Dan. I just want to say one word. Is that what it is? Fuck.
Exactly how do you mean? Fuck. Yes, I will.
Enough said.
Yes, I will. I had it. I was stoned.
Just one word. podcasts. I just want to say one word to you. Just. I just want to say one thing to you. That's not it? What is it?
One word.
I just want to say one word to you. I was in John Malcolm face. Are you listening? Can you hear the helicopter?
I can. Yes, I will.
I heard the helicopter come back. It's a great future in podcasts.
So silent out.
Just one word.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say one word to you. Just. I pulled you in closer and you felt
It's a little
it.
closer.
One word. Wait, I jumped a step and it looked weird.
Alright.
To the men and the eagles. Shit!
The men and the eagles. Alright, here we go.